The sentence dropped like a gavel cracking bone. Life in prison. The judge leaned forward, venom curling in his voice. "You're nothing but scum." The bailiff stepped toward me with shackles, his expression unreadable. Behind him, the gallery shifted, my ex-wife smirking, her hand tangled in the fingers of her new husband. My children stared at the floor, their silence louder than any verdict. I didn't blink. The chains were cold, metal teeth biting at my wrists. The bailiff's hand paused just long enough for a whisper to reach the judge's ear. He slid a folded document across the bench. The judge's eyes scanned it, his color drained. And in that moment I saw it, the flicker of recognition, the understanding of what he'd just done. He had no idea who he'd sentenced. Until now. 2 years ago, I walked into that same courtroom believing in justice, believing that truth was something you could hold up to the light and see clearly. That day, the judge tore my life apart in under an hour. My ex-wife's lies painted me as violent, unstable, unfit to breathe the same air as my children. She didn't even look at me when she said it. He gave her everything: custody, the house, the accounts I built over 20 years. He handed my children over to her new man, a stranger who had been in my home while I was still married. I left the courtroom that day with nothing but a file of forged statements and a hollow chest. But losing was never my weakness. Patience was my weapon. It began quietly, a pattern of late-night calls to a single number, a real estate transaction buried under layers of shell companies. I started collecting, not confronting. Bank statements, emails, recordings. The judge and my ex-wife connected long before the trial. Photos of them together on nights she told the court I was terrorizing her. Wire transfers from his private account to hers, labeled as consulting fees. I found the marriage license she'd filed with her new husband 8 months before the divorce was finalized. I didn't rage. I didn't break. I kept my head down, my hands steady. Every document went into a locked case. Every lead followed until it bled truth. And then, months later, the contract fell into my hands. His signature, his seal, a deal with the same men who'd hired me years ago when I was still useful to the government in ways no court would ever acknowledge. Now, the judge was no longer just a corrupt man. He was a liability. The evidence came together like a well-cut diamond, sharp, perfect, lethal. I waited for my moment. The trial for the fabricated charge she'd set up was it. They thought this would finish me. As the verdict was read, I kept my eyes on the judge. The bailiff approached with the manila envelope. Inside, the signed contract, the transaction logs, the photographs. The last page bore the insignia he'd hoped no one would ever see again. He read it once, then again. His lips parted. When he looked at me, there was no authority left in his gaze, only fear. I didn't speak. I didn't need to. They led me toward the holding area. I stopped at the threshold, turning just enough for my voice to carry. "Check page 7, Judge," I said. Calm, almost bored. The bailiff froze. The judge's hands shook as he flipped. His eyes darted between the paper and me. "You..." His voice was barely sound. I gave the smallest nod. He understood. Every name on that contract, every operation it tied him to, it all lived in my memory. Enough to end his life's work, his reputation, his freedom. Behind him, my ex-wife's smile faltered. She didn't know the details, but she recognized the shift, the sudden vacuum of power. And she realized the truth. The man she thought she'd destroyed had been holding the detonator the whole time. They'll reduce my sentences. Not out of mercy, but necessity. He'll make sure of it. He has to. In a week, maybe a month, he'll come to me quietly, through intermediaries, with terms. The charges will dissolve, the record will vanish, and the man who called me scum will spend the rest of his life wondering when I'll decide to open my mouth. My ex-wife will watch from the sidelines as the judge she aligned herself with crumbles, his protection gone. She'll lose the house, the accounts, the new husband who only wanted the illusion of power. As for my children, I'll wait. Not for their forgiveness, for their understanding. Patience is my weapon, and I have all the time in the world. Moral of the story: power doesn't come from winning in the moment. It comes from knowing when to wait, what to hold, and how to use the truth when it will cost them the most.